will have their operator license and vehicles insurance suspended. If your driver is driving more than 8 hours, which is the stipulated period, we will make sure that whether or not they're involved in a crash, we will take away your license. But if we find that actually they get involved in a crash and they were operating more than the 8 hours, it is a definite red flag, and we will take away your license. On excess passengers, the excess passengers, drivers and conductors, on the exchange passengers in a motor vehicle and also on a motorcycle, drivers and conductors shall be detained and charged. We appeal to the judiciary to mete out the highest possible penalties to traffic offenders, including riders, pedestrians, drivers, and passengers. We also want to confirm here that the excess passengers themselves will be charged. If we find you are in a motor vehicle carrying 14 or PSV vehicle carrying 14 people, and you are forcing yourself to sit on one seat with somebody else, you will be charged. So I urge members of public to observe the traffic rules and make sure that when they find that a motor vehicle is full, they should not. No Kenyan is forced to board any motor vehicle. None. Public service vehicle. Actually, to the contrary, we are the ones who force ourselves to inside it. The Probox that got accident in Kericho had 8 people inside it. For a vehicle that is supposed to carry 4 people, it had 8. And sometimes it's more than 8, it is 15, it's 20. And all that people boarding those vehicles voluntarily, overloading voluntarily. And we are saying we will charge you. Forget about the fact that we are saving your life. We will charge you first, so that for you to know that your life in this country. On compliance of transport operators, all transport operators who do not meet the minimum requirements of PSV Regulation 2014, that is minimum threshold of service of a vehicle, non-compliance with road service license, inspection certificate, and PSV license, all of them, their operation will cease and they will be suspended. On compliance of speed limiter vendors, there is immediate suspension of speed limiter vendors with low performance in speed management from fitting new limits of NTSA is completed. However, they will be expected to maintain 100% compliance on vehicles already fitted with their limiters. What we are saying is that we want to deal with where it hurts most for the speed limiters, vendors of speed limiters, by ensuring that we deny them the right to continue selling their speed limiters until the checks are done, and if they are found to be culpable, they will be suspended. But even after that, they will still continue servicing the vehicles that already have speed limiters. On border and pedestrian safety, county governments and National Police Service will enforce all relevant sections of the Traffic Act to ensure compliance and safeguard the lives of border riders, pillion passengers, and pedestrians. You know, up to now, we have lost about 470 pedestrians. And we have lost almost 105 pillion passengers and another 300 motorcycle riders. And those are the ones accounted for. And you know, in some parts of the country, especially rural areas, some are not accounted for. And then now some of the pedestrians, the 470, almost half of them as a result of the recklessness of the border riders. The border riders are contributing to, in that figure, you are talking about, as we speak now, almost 600 people dying because of recklessness of border riders. This is a very serious issue. And this is a devolved function. we want the county governments to designate areas of operation of the border riders and require compliance also from them insofar as the law is concerned. Enforcement will be done jointly between the county governments and the National Police Service. On the road agencies, I have instructed all the road agencies, especially the Kenya National Highway Authority, to immediately undertake road markings, install necessary road furniture, and put in measures to remove stalled vehicles. Additionally, we want them to mount speed calming measures and ensure that black spots are attended to. Finally, NTSA should hasten the process of outsourcing of motor vehicle inspection to enhance its capacity in assessing the roadworthiness of vehicles countrywide. What we want to do is that we want to stop inspecting vehicles the way we have been doing, and we want to automate. And to do so, we want the support of the private sector by outsourcing this assignment to capable private sector. I need to bring this to the attention of the country, that we have been expecting a lot from the National Police Service, particularly the traffic department, yet very little has been done to support them or to resource them. The law enforcement agencies have tirelessly served our great nation, but unfortunately, there is very little investment towards the resourcing the traffic police to undertake this mandate. As the government, more resources will be directed towards enforcement function to address the capacity building, acquisition of equipment, including enforcement devices, and adoption of the latest technology. In the next 2 weeks, His Excellency the President will be based on his direction, will be giving an update to the country on the resources that we are going to give to ensure that the police have patrol vehicles, the traffic police have patrol vehicles, but also from the NTSA side to make sure that we have vehicles that can support enforcement. We will also, the National Police Service will be working together with the Treasury to make sure that resources are provided for training of our traffic police officers. So far, 1,000 traffic police officers have been trained, 1,200, and we need to train others 2,000 plus to ensure that there is enforcement. As I have read, the IG police is going to, this week, going to appoint county police, traffic police enforcement officers that are going to work at the county level. Progressively also, the presence of NTSAs in 17 regions, we're going to enhance that to make sure that there is a coordinator of NTSA in every county to make sure that this enforcement is done. Other services which we are going to engage in is to make sure that there is more awareness that is going to be done. There is more training programs, and we will work together with all stakeholders across the country to make sure that we deal with problems of road safety in the country by changing behavior. I really want to emphasize this as I close, that if most of these problems we are talking about here would actually be averted if we change our behavior as Kenyans. If we accept to follow the rules, if all of us ensure that we don't board a full motor vehicle, if we ensure that we don't board a vehicle that the driver is drunk, if we ensure that we don't board, we don't use a border more than one person, if we insist that we must have a helmet. You know, most people say, oh, the helmet is dirty, but which one is worse? Yeah, is it worse to die, or it's worse to get home when you are feeling that it's dirty? You know, so if you really have to use a border, you better follow the rules by making sure that you have a helmet. We will be arresting the passenger also if you don't have a helmet, not just the border rider. We will impound all those motorcycles that are not going to comply. I know we did that, and then politics came into play, and you know, everybody, because they want to play nice to their political players, returned some of those motorcycles back to the streets. We want to ensure that that enforcement is done until order is achieved in our country. But we want these things to be done not for me, not in the name of the minister, not for purpose of the glory of the cabinet secretary. It's for posterity and for the good of our country. And I urge all of us to work together to support each other to achieve this objective. This statement is a joint position of the government of Kenya, those who are represented here and those who are not. This is an agreed joint position of the people of Kenya through your government. Asanteni sana. Unless there are questions, we will... just before I take the questions, in the coming weeks, because, you know, so many people are obsessed with cabinet secretary. Every time, everything that happens, where is the minister? You know, people even enter into an overloaded vehicle and they take videos and pictures and ask, where is Murkomen? He has failed. Murkomen has failed. But he is inside, he himself is inside a bus that is overloaded. And he thinks he has not failed. So I want us to now focus on engaging the institutions that are carrying out enforcement. Our traffic commander is here. She's ready and willing to give you information on the enforcement works that are being done by the police. And the regulator is here. The NTSA is ready. If it is the deregistering motor vehicles, companies that are violating the law, if it is providing inspectors to assist the National Police Service in terms of inspecting roadworthiness of the vehicle, the NTSA is going to be here to work. Engage George here, engage Mary here, so that you make sure that these are the people. You don't be too obsessed in getting the minister. Deal with the agencies that are actually dealing with this issue. You know, everybody's just like, I want the minister. By the time a problem is getting to a cabinet secretary, you know, we have a long route of people who are engaged in enforcement, and they will tell you day to day what's happening. Of course, the buck stops here eventually when it comes to regulating and matters of transport. And the buck stops also with my colleague of Interior when it comes to enforcement. But that's not what, you should not be looking for someone to blame. You should be looking for somebody to resolve the problem, you know, and work together and assist the police. What happened to the question of getting what is wrong and looking for the police service to see if that can be corrected, or NTSA that can be corrected? I want you to, as the media houses here, to engage more the NTSA, engage more the traffic commandant here and the police officers that she works with on enforcement, to make sure that our country gets better. But if you don't really resist the temptation to degenerate to the political conversation and focus on resolving this problem, which is endemic. By the way, I have statistics here. When I tell people, the traffic accidents have been growing continuously. I have here from 2005 all the way to now. They keep just going up continuously every year, you know, and it's an issue that we have not been able to arrest as the people of Kenya, because a lot of it requires our personal behavior and intervention. Now I'll take the questions. I will take from 1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you, Waziri.
Now that there are no ladies who want to ask a question.
Thank you, Waziri. My name is Francis Ontom. I work for KTN News. Yeah. My first question is on school bus safety. Yeah. And specifically, I want to pose a question about our youngest commuters, those in the kindergarten and the lower school. Increasingly, we are seeing most of these school buses, they lack seat belts, and some of them, even with seat belts, they are not appropriate for the young commuters. And some of these buses are also very crowded. And interestingly, some of them pass through police checks and even roadblocks, and they are not checked. Would you agree that there is a lapse in surveillance to protect our youngest commuters? My second question is about last year you made...
Let's try to make it 1-1-1. Yeah.
Very briefly.
Yeah.
Last year you had a commitment about mapping out black spots.
Yes.
And you even went again ahead to give a timeline of 30 days to map out all the black spots across the country. Would you say that you finished mapping out, and you even promised about cameras to be stationed? To be installed.
Okay, sorry, I forgot about the cameras. Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
How far are you with this?
Thank you. I'll take the question so that take them once.
Okay. Thank you, Waziri. My name is Kevaso from People Daily. One of the popular suggestions around the country and everywhere on road safety has been to dual the roads to reduce the severity and the number of people who are dying on the roads. Where is this program in this government? And we have a timeline for it. And then number two, a quick one again. some of those measures you read there, they look like there's a research behind them. If they were to implement it, at what percentage can we reduce the road carnage?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, Waziri, my name is Abdiaziz Ashu from KBC. Waziri, last year you started a conversation on retesting all drivers, especially for PSV. Are we likely to see the government going back there through NTSA? And secondly, Waziri, you have not addressed one of the major issues that is causing, not to point a finger at the police, but corruption.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Last one.
Kwa majina naitwa Moses Mokisha from 6 TV. Swali langu ni kwa hivi visa tumekuwa tukishuhudia or recent tumekuwa tukipanda visa ajali. Where is the laxity? Unaweza sema maybe tuambie shida imekuwa wapi? Hatuoni zile sports nilio mlikuwa mkifanya kama maafisa wala wanaoshughulika na upande wa kuangalia transport, kama hatuoni ule msisitizo ulikuwa tuseme kama Disemba, ungejaribu kuangalia hata idadi hivi visa ilikuwa chini sana. Alafu kuja January hakuwa na visa kama Feb ikaanza. Na ukijaribu kuangalia kwa zile sport checks tumejaribu kufanya, we find that there is laxity in terms. I don't know if you can address that in terms of
the laxity.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. First of all, Francis, the question of laxity in the school bus enforcement, it's not just the school buses, it's just as many transport. Many people, as I was saying earlier, have gone back to violating these rules. You know, it's one thing to do the rule, and the other is to enforce. And this enforcement requires, it's both ways. The people who use the transport, the vehicles, and also the police. Although we can't have enough policemen to stop people and enforce them, we have enough Kenyans inside these vehicles who can stop this bad behavior. So it starts with personal responsibility that is on our side. Number two, I agree with you that if you look at some of the vehicles transporting our children, they look like they are very old. They are finished their work with matatu work, and now they are on the road. That's why one of the directives we gave here is that all school vehicles now must be presented for inspection before May 1st. All of them. And we'll make sure that we do our best to weed out the ones that are not roadworthy. But also I request parents, not to accept their children to be dropped using these unroadworthy vehicles. If you look at these vehicles the way they are, and many of these parents are paying, especially you talked about private schools, they're paying a lot of money to take their children to those schools, and they're paying transport fee, and it's a huge amount. We want to ask parents also to take responsibility to help us making sure that they reject transport vehicles that are unroadworthy. You've asked the question of mapping out the black spots. Yes, we did, and we've always known where the black spots are. That's why we are stationing enforcement around those black spots. If you look at the recent accidents, most of them have happened after hour, and part of the reason is because after, if you say from 7 to the next day 5 in the morning, it's because people go drink and then they cause accidents on the road. We've not been able to police service and the NTSA to be on the road at night, and that's why we, in the directive we've given, is that we are now trying to put together resources and start with the most serious black spots by having them operating not just during the day but also at night, so that they can help us in these black spots. I know that there is a question that, yes, Kobasu asked about dualing. Dualing is not an easy thing. We have a contract that is ongoing in Ngata of dualing, and the contractor has promised that by June. We already awarded, as I promised last year, but the contractor is saying is going to finish the work by June this year. We are putting him on task to make sure that he has put in place the separators the same way we did in Salga. Those are some of the interventions we are putting in around black spots, and we'll try to do so in the few areas that are actually black spots. But let me say this: all these interventions that we need as a country requires money. It's not, I mean, as a ministry would be very willing to do as much. Let me give you an example of Nithi Bridge. Nithi Bridge to be realigned, to realign it to become straight so that you don't have that corners. It needs 15 billion. 10 billion for land acquisition and 5 to 6 billion for construction. To construct a tunnel at Nithi Bridge, and I'm telling you these are designs that have been done. To construct a tunnel there, you need 50 billion to do a tunnel to go through. So it's not for the lack of knowledge and ability to do these things. It is, I mean, ability in terms of brain power. It's the resources that we do not have as a country. The problem is that we cannot really provide, so that therefore we are requesting drivers to actually just observe the road signs and to drive slowly, because that is what we can afford. We can afford to construct the roads in the manner in which they are, with the corners that they have. And you know, when people if you go to other countries that have a lot of money, they don't go through the climbing hills. They cut tunnels inside the hills because they have the money to do so. We are living within our means, and within that means, we need to observe road. We need to go for the cheaper option, which is observing the road traffic requirements. How far can scientifically, I cannot put figures onto the numbers that are going to reduce. Vehicles are increasing, so ours is to make sure that you reduce it as much as possible. There is no country in the world that is zero accident. That's as a matter of fact. But what countries try to do is to make sure that if there is an accident that happens, it becomes only accident. Not things that are preventable. Not the kind of recklessness that we see in our roads that has very crazy numbers up there, making it difficult for us. Yes, you will be getting the retesting of the motor vehicles drivers had been suspended for the organizations to arrange themselves. Soon, as I announced recently, we are going to roll out again retesting of all drivers, including medical tests. And we are going to give you the framework of how we are going to do so before any driver can get the license on the retesting. On the corruption is a problem all over. Let me start by saying the person who is tampering with a speed limiter is corrupt. That's corruption. I think many people think that corruption is just only by when there is money, because that corruption is tampering with the speed limit so that they can drive faster to make more money at the expense of people's lives. Corruption also includes overloading. That's a corrupt practice, because you know you are going against the law. Bribing a police officer or an NTSA officer is corruption. Yeah, and it's two-way. And the person who is bribing the police actually is because he knows that he has violated the rules. The one who doesn't bribe knows that is a good standing, he has a good vehicle and so forth. So it's not, the corruption is there, and it's something we're trying to fight. And it's not only on road traffic issues. Corruption is in contracts, it's in many things, including people who compromise designs or compromise the quality of a road. That is corruption. And that is something that is has been a challenge and is still a challenge with us, and we must continue working together to make sure that we deal with it. Certainly the Ministry of Interior, National Police Service are doing their part, but it is also demoralizing if we generalize and say all police officers are corrupt. That is not true. Just like we have corrupt people in many other agencies of government, you also have such a few elements in National Police Service, in National Transport Safety Authority, NTSA, and among others. And we, as from a government side, are working hard every time to make sure that there is an accountability. And how are we going to do this? You know that I promised the country that we are going to have speed cameras on the roads, including the black spots. Already we have testing cameras. You must have seen one in Kinungi, Southern Bypass, among Thika Road. They are on the pilot project. Meanwhile, procurement is ongoing. And it's at the tail end. We really believe that in less than 3 months the contractor will be on site, and we have agreed that once the contractor is identified and comes on site, we want to start with the black spots so that we can put speed cameras on the black spots. That way, we are going to, and these speed cameras are going to operate in such a way that you will have instant fining. Your number plate is going to be captured, and a message is sent to you directly that you pay this amount of money, and the rest is going to be enforcement of that payment. So we are working on that. Unfortunately, Moses, sad as it may sound, and sometimes insensitive as it may sound, the figures of accidents last year and the year before and the year before are almost the same. Almost the same. Although there is in the first 3 months this year, we've lost 1,400 and if you remind me, 1,400 and I have the figure somewhere. People, 1,270. Sorry, not 400. 1,270. 1,270. While last year we lost in the same period about 1,160 something, about 160. So the difference is about 100 people. Those are lives, eh? It's not a joke. An extra 100 people. But you will see that in the course of the year, even last year, we are trying to push the numbers to come down, So this month you are happy that it's low, then the next month is going up. Like, you know, we were happy this weekend, we did a lot of work, our children went home, and there were minimum accidents. Then as soon as that is, you know, the next day, you find an accident. So you have this fluctuation, and then at the end of the year, you end up having, again, similar figures, 4,400, 4,500, 4,600, which has been a figure that has been rotating. 2009 was the worst, actually, with 4,600. And that figure keeps going up and down. And I want to say that we are trying, what our target is to bring the figure down. We may not tell exactly to what figure, but because this is a human being, if we can save one life, that will be a great achievement. But we want to do as much as possible to make sure that we reduce the road carnage. And is availability of resources. You will be shocked the amount of money that is in the National Police Service for training traffic police officers. You give the police 30 million and tell them you train all the police officers. And you know, you have, you know, very limited resources being put in training, and this is a specialized area. What was the last time you saw a 9-9? In like the old days of a police car patrolling the highways to check traffic enforcement. It's a long time ago. You know, in 2018, for example, the former administration removed all the vehicles we had in NTSA, which were helping the police, and none others were bought for the police for them to enhance the capacity they have. So we have a problem. We have a capacity problem, literally. The the traffic police department is not resourced enough. Well, NTSA also is not resourced enough. So we want to see if we can work with our parliament in this upcoming budget to rationalize the budget and make sure that we put money where it deserves. We are so much into, we want to put money where we can get returns. We don't realize that protecting lives of people is a returns. And we need to put more money there in the protection of lives. We need to put money on our roads to complete the stalled roads so that we can mark them. We need to put money to make sure that we realign and redesign the areas that are giving us problems. So we have our, I can't envy the president because his plate is full. You're paying debts which are humongous, and at the same time there's service that must be given. So let's help each other as a country. Let's also help each other by not crossing swollen rivers. Honestly, you know, I mean, someone is just taking a chance to cross. You are endangering people's lives. And we want to request the DPP to charge these people for the highest offenses. In fact, the drivers who are attempting to cross swollen rivers should be charged for attempted murder, you know, if they survive. It should be that serious. And we ask our also judiciary to meet the highest punishment on traffic offenders, because in most cases, the driver who caused accident in Makueni had been charged more than 3 times and released. Had been arrested, sorry, by the police more than 3 times, and somehow he found his way out and back to the driving seat, and then eventually killed 14 people. this is preventable if we take also traffic offenses as a serious issue. In all over the world, countries take it as serious and they meet the highest punishment on those who are committing these offenses. I think I have responded to as many questions as possible.
The last one now that the IG is around.
Yeah.
On those matatus that have small seats, they call
Sambaza in between.
Sambaza.
Yeah.
And then the bribes that police wake up every morning at 5 collecting from matatus.
Yeah.
They are stationed somewhere, they stop a matatu, they pick. You know, passengers, commuters see this and they look at their country and they are ashamed.
Yeah.
Police standing and picking 50 shillings, 100 shillings every morning at 5 a.m. What are you going to do?
From KTN. There used to be a systematic operation between NTSA and the National Police Service, the traffic department, where we even used to see mobile courts, where when you break an offense, you are taken to court and then you get an instant justice on it. Do you think it is high time we consider taking back NTSA to our roads so that they can help the police in terms of speed, management, and also alcohol?
The truth is that in 2018, as I said, the government then reversed that working arrangement between NTSA and the police, and they had found a very good formula of working together. The police having the constitutional power to arrest, and the NTSA assisting in terms of providing technical support, because they have the inspection capability, but also they had equipment that they were assisting together, working together with the police, and I think it helped in a way. If you look at the numbers, it came down a little bit around that period of time. Of course, the government, in its own wisdom, then said that NTSA should be removed. I hear some people saying that NTSA was to be removed because of corruption. Now they are saying the police should not be on the road because of corruption. We have agreed that we are going to work together, and NTSA will progressively, because now this is not something you wake up in the morning. We have only 700 staff. We have only 67 inspectors. Now we need to rebuild again our capacity to be able to get enough people that can come to the road. So when we say we are coming back, people will say, we have not seen NTSA all over the country. You need to understand that the institutional capacity that we have of 67 inspectors requires us to increase the number of inspectors so that we can have a presence across the country. And truly, we will work together with the police as we push for the resourcing of the police by the government. NTSA also will be resourced. We've been working with other development partners who, by 2018, we had made great progress, except that the government reversed that decision. Now we have the opportunity to again bring back the development partners to work with us to get the resources for us to deal with the enforcement in the roads. And let me just go back to this corruption issue. If you don't want to pay bribes, just do the right thing, because it takes two to tango. The police don't pay themselves the bribe. The one who pays the bribe and the one who receives are equally guilty under the law. So why do they pay these bribes? Because they know that definitely they are not compliant. But if everybody was compliant, they would be safe. Number two, why would a citizen sit in a matatu and see a driver giving out a bribe to a policeman and keep quiet? Yeah, tutafanya nini? In fact, the worst part of it is they go to social media. The only thing they say, police picks a bribe. Let me tell you something. If 14 people in a matatu, even if they are 10, say, hey, polisi, hiyo shilingi 50 umechukua ni ya nini? And you say today, and you say tomorrow, even if you don't arrest the police officer or whoever, just shouting that tumekuona umechukua hiyo shilingi 50, it makes a whole difference. But we've become experts in our WhatsApp groups and our Facebook and Twitter. Remember when Kibaki came to office in 2003, citizens were arresting police officers who were taking bribes because there was a certain level of patriotism and citizen consciousness that everybody wanted to ensure that their country is safe and free from corruption. What stops us from going there as citizens? You know, arresting drivers that are drunk and driving, refusing to board a car that is already overloaded, making sure that you don't board a border more than one person. Because honestly, the police doesn't pick you and put you in a border to be 4 people without helmet, you know. And you have this, I have done this week alone. I have stopped in several places to stop a border rider and ask them, why don't you have a helmet? Pole sana mkubwa. You know, he's telling me Pole, he doesn't even have the helmet there. It's not there. Meanwhile, he's carrying 3 other people who are looking at me as if, why are you interrupting our trip? It is, you know, why are you interrupting our ride? Because everybody wants to, somehow we are in a hurry in the country. Everybody wants to arrive somewhere very fast, even if it means dying. And it's not for lack of border. In fact, the other border riders waiting for a pillion passenger. But because those of you want to board one of them, border, all of you, and it saddens me. And I want to repeat this. You have a husband, a wife, and the children riding one border, and they get an accident, and we lose all of them. It is terrible. And I just want to emphasize here that citizen consciousness and citizen commitment will be the most important thing. And if I have not said it here, please, my friends of the media, you know, when I went to NTSA last week, many people keep seeing the clip that I was in the NTSA and I looked in a foul mood. I was angry. I didn't sleep the night before. And I don't want to repeat that story because it makes me very emotional. You see, like many of you, I have a child in school. Yeah? And for a parent to send their child to school and the day they are waiting for them at home, yeah, that parent is waiting for a child and he doesn't arrive just because somebody was reckless somewhere. That could be my child. You know, for those of us who have our children in high school, it could be mine. By the time I was going to NTSA in the morning, you can, I mean, my family is my witness, my wife is my, I didn't sleep the whole night because of Chavakali's story. We had just come from Kapsabet, you just told the Chavakali whatever. So when people are talking about other things like it was jokes, it was not to me. My mind the next day was really wondering. Last year, April, we lost a number of kids because of a road accident in Naivasha for children who are being brought by a 14-seater matatu. I called this NTSA CEO and I told him, whatever the resources, however little it is, let's do everything possible this week when we are closing school to just make sure that the children get home safe. Because now we have mad people on the road. And I'm glad this week, at least the numbers involving children coming from school went down. But that is something that should pain us. You know, we are all used to niceties of, you know, who is doing what. If we can, all of us, just imagine your child is in school and you're waiting home. Somebody's husband has gone to hustle and is being waited at home and the only breadwinner. You know, most of the people who are driving these vehicles, young people, yeah, that are driving these vehicles in 20s, 30s, they just bought their first cars and they've gone for drinking. On, like now, this time, they are drinking somewhere because tomorrow is a public holiday. I can tell you for sure, we know, because the statistics don't lie, that by 11 you have road accidents on the road involving private vehicles for people who are drunk. That's why we are returning the drunk driving, the alcohol and the like. We are working on the regulations to return that. So it shouldn't be government too much to manage individual human behavior. But we are forced to do so because people are not taking responsibility in their hands. I ask you, and I urge you more once again, media, forget about Murkomen. Turn your cameras on the citizens. Ask them, let's work together. Let's support each other to push the focus on human behavior. All these are preventable if we are all conscious. If you bought a car and the 14th person is already in and the 15th come and all of you tell him shuka to meja kwa gari, that person has to shuka because you people care about your life. If the drivers of a speed and say, Dere, simama hapo, ume overtake mara mbili vibaya, unataka kutuua. we will be able to do something that will turn our country. This thing requires a whole citizen approach for us to solve this problem, including the corruption. I used to be a preacher before, so if I continue, I will call for an altar call, and I don't want to do so. Let's leave it there for today, and please engage the traffic commandant and NTSA. Please engage them, and if they are not responsive, tell us. Now come back to me and say, I was looking for information from NTSA, they don't want to tell us what they are doing. Or from the police, you tell my colleague Kindiki, yeah, or any of us here, the PS Interior is here, the PS Transport is here, the IG is here. Report these people if they are not responding to your questions. But we are going to resource them to go out there and preach this message. I also saw church members saying, where is the minister? If there is somebody who is more effective than the minister, he is the church minister who preaches to people every Sunday. Please help us preach to these people to get saved and follow the narrow path of traffic, obeying traffic rules. Because we need citizens, more than anything else, we need human behavior to change in this country. That one will make this country become a better place. And as I told you guys, I don't want to be the minister that goes around there chasing matatus and stopping them and pulling people. It's that I don't want this thing to be person-centric. I want it to be institutional. That's why I'm pushing for the cameras, so that those cameras will be there, whether Murkomen is there or not, it will be there. I'm pushing for telematics for the school, so that Murkomen is there or not, the school telematics can be enforced. And all other things we want to do for posterity. But as we get there, let's work on our behavior. Asanteni sana.